Scout for a long time, so
All
I
right.
can explain or you have any questions.
Good. I'm going to
Or
record
if you
this.
need translation.
Yeah. Can you open the slides? You can share. Let me give you the host.
You
So
want me to share my slides?
Yeah, share a slide from David.
Oh, I can share the slides too if you like.
Oh, sure. Okay. Let me.
That's easier.
That's easier. Okay. So I'm going to. You can share slides.
Let's see. There's probably something down here that's share screen, right?
Yeah,
share screen.
Make sure you check those two
Share computer
checkbox.
sound and optimize for full screen clip.
Yes. Those two buttons, those two checkbox. Make sure on the bottom of the screen. Make sure you check them.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
All right, so you can see. All right, so you can hear me and you can see my screen.
You both. We're good.
All right, let's see if I do a.
Okay, good. So we can see that. All right. I'll kick off. Then Laura, you will be the facilitator, and we can take in questions from David, from the people. This is our workshop week 77. So probably you've noticed that we evolved quite a bit from 1 year ago. It's accent reduction. Then we move on to a famous speech analysis, Toastmasters, TED Talk. Then we move on to a special topic. For instance, we did a debate program last week. This week, we're talking about the Boy Scout. So all things are related to developing the social emotional intelligence of students' leadership skills and communication skills. So with that, I will give my baton to Laura and David. You lead the way.
Okay, Laura, hello. Ni hao, everyone.
Hi. Mike, do you want to give a brief introduction?
Sure. And introduction about, let me think. Well, we have 3 coaches, and David has been our, I call them, culture, language coach from many aspects. He's a NASA scientist, rocket scientist, put this way, and also Scoutmaster for years. Laura has been a distinguished Toastmaster for years, have been very active in the community, supporting and promoting the public speaking and the leadership program. His 2 boys, 2 sons also, one of them got a Scoutmaster, the other one is, I'm sorry, the Boy Scout. The other was Eagle Scout, right, Laura?
No, both are both Eagle? Yeah, Laura, right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, my old one is an Eagle now, and he's in the college. And the younger one is in 11th grade.
Good. I think, David, you are the bald eagle, right?
Something like that, right, yeah. I am bald and I was an Eagle Scout, yeah, so I guess I'm a bald eagle.
All right, Laura, why not you introduce our coach, David, please?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the screen that you sent because I was checking the PowerPoint.
All right. Let's see. This is not a race. Let's see what can I find it.
Yeah.
David has been mechanical engineering, graduate from Georgia Tech. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Work with NASA, has been awarded the federal distinguished employee for his contribution to the space exploration projects. And he's working on, in his spare time, he coached the kids baseball, hockey, and Boy Scout his passion. And you can tell we come here every week. David has been very diligent and I call it perseverant in this mission. So thank you, David.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. I think David, go ahead. You are talking about, we're going to take in questions. Send a question to Laura or myself and we can facilitate. All right.
Great, outstanding. Well, I hope everyone sees my screen. If you're can't see the words or there's something that's not quite right, please let me know, because I'm assuming everyone is seeing what I'm seeing, but may not necessarily be correct. I saw some blue line is going across, so I don't know if that's me or someone else, but does everyone see like a blue line across my name?
Don't get personal.
All right, someone crossed it out. Okay, anyway, ni hao, everyone. I'm going to be talking about Boy Scouts. And let's see why the page down doesn't work. Huh, all right. Wonder why.
It should work. You use the...
Yeah, page down. There we go. All right, now it
Yeah.
works. Very good. Okay. I'm going to talk about some things about why we want Boy Scouts, why your sons and daughters should be in Scouts. But to do that, I want to talk about just the history so you can see why Boy Scouts started, and we'll bring it up to current history. If anyone has any questions, please just ask, and I'll be happy to answer your question. I've been doing Boy Scouts for a very, very long time. Like Mike said, I was an Eagle Scout when I was a boy. I have two sons. They both are Eagle Scouts. I've been associated with Boy Scout Troop 3 in Rockville, Maryland for probably 18, 19 years. And I was a Cub Master before that in Cub Scouts. So I've been doing this a very long time. I've seen hundreds of boys, all shapes, sizes, abilities, and there's probably nothing that I haven't seen in a boy over the years that I've been in Scouts. So ask any questions about your boy, anything else, and be able to happy to answer it. Okay, so the Boy Scouts is one of the largest youth organizations in America. Right now, almost 2.5 million boys are Boy Scouts. A little less than what it used to be. Back in the 60s and 70s, they were up to almost 4 million boys. So it waxes and wanes a little bit based on what's happening in America and the world. But based 2.5 million youths, probably the largest organization in America that's associated with youth boys. And also, there's 1 million adult volunteers. You can't have Boy Scouts without having adults as well. And we'll talk about the adults in a second. And I don't know, someone's writing a bunch of blue all over the screen. So it's not me, but someone is. So who's writing all that blue? Can anyone see that, or is it just me?
Yeah, I can see that, but who is writing that?
Yes, maybe some boys making things. David, why not? I'm going to find a way to, that's one way you can do is erase that. Yeah, erase on the top.
Oh, there's a erase button. Okay. Well, sorry for the.
You know what? Why not? Let me find a slide I can control.
All right, it works. I mean, it's fine. I don't know. Whoever's drawing blue, I'm not sure how it comes on my screen, but that's fine.
Good.
Okay,
right.
So bottom line is Boy Scouts started in England in 1908, so it's almost 110 years old. And it started in England because a man, his name was Lord Baden-Powell. He was a general in the British Army. And the British were in the Boer Wars. This is basically when the wars in India. And India was a British colony. And so the British were over in India fighting the Boers. And he was noticing that the boys were not, didn't have the correct skills to be out in the woods and to, fight in a foreign land. He noticed that the boys, sort of like they are now, they're made to go to school. They're taught to work in the factories, taught to work in office buildings, taught to do the same basic things that the boys do now, even in 1908. But they couldn't go off in the woods and forage for food. They couldn't learn how to navigate. And if you're in the military, there's all sorts of things you need to do. Navigate with a map, use a map and compass, hike, exercise, and also hunt for food because there's not grocery stores out in the middle of India. And so he decided that he needed to form an organization to train the boys in the things that needed to be done, not only for the military, but also he thought just to be a real boy. 1908, people were coming from farms and going into the cities and basically forgetting about all the things that boys used to do outside when they had lots and lots of acres and area to play in and exercise. They all were sitting at desks, working in factories, and it was different. And what happened was, and it was about 3 years, Boy Scouts were in England, and there was a man from America that went to England, and he got lost in the fog because London is very, very, very foggy. He couldn't find his way around. He couldn't see street signs. They didn't have them back then, and he was lost. And some boy came up out of the fog and asked, "Can I help you, sir?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm trying to find something, something, something." The boy directed him how to go, and the man try to give him a quarter as a thank you. And the boy said, I can't take the tip because I'm a Boy Scout. We do this as part of our job to do a good turn daily. And he was so impressed that a boy would come up to him and help him, wouldn't take any money, that he got interested in it and founded the Boy Scouts in America after finding out about the Boy Scouts in England. So bottom line is, ever since for 110 years, the Boy Scouts have been known as being trustworthy, being helpful, being chivalrous, being great in outdoors. So, when you say you're just like a Boy Scout, there's all sorts of good connotations that come with that. See a picture down here. This is what the boys looked like back in 1910 in America. They don't look, well, I guess their faces look somewhat like they do now, but obviously the uniforms are a little bit different. But the bottom line is, the Boy Scouts started over 110 years ago. Now, what is a Boy Scout? Well, you can see a picture right here. This is a picture of my Boy Scout troop that I'm in. We were canoeing back in September up in Virginia, Shenandoah River. And they're all shapes and sizes and ages. You see adult leaders, you see little kids, you see big kids, all different nationalities, all different backgrounds. And that's one of the good things about Boy Scouts is, especially in the Maryland area, you get all sorts of cultures, which is important because you don't want to have a monoculture. But bottom line is a Boy Scout has to be at least 11 years old, or he has to have graduated the 5th grade, because there's some boys that may still be 10 when they graduate 5th grade. They may have later birthdays, but if your boy graduated the 5th grade, he can become a Boy Scout, or if he has turned 11, he can be a Boy Scout. You cannot be a Boy Scout once you turn 18, because once you're 18, you're an adult, and Boy Scouts are for boys, not for adults. So if you are below 11 years old, you go in Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts starts in 1st grade and goes through 5th grade. And those are the younger boys, much more adult-led, because you can't have kid-led program with a bunch of 1st graders and 3rd graders. So, of course, it's much more appropriate to make that the adult run. But once they turn 18, they're no longer a Boy Scout. They become an adult leader. So we have boys in our troop that once they turn 18, they help in the troop. They're an adult leader. They can still hang out with the boys until they're 21, but they just can't earn badges, and they're no longer what's considered a Boy Scout. They're a Boy Scout leader. So if you have any boys at home that are in 5th grade, they can start joining a Boy Scout troop whenever they like. If they're 10 years old, have them wait about a year and they can join Boy Scouts. But I also want to let people know is if you have a 14-year-old boy, it's not too late to join Boy Scouts. You can easily join at any age. It's not like there's a certain age where he's just too old to start. We have plenty of boys that start when they're 13, 14, 15 years old, and that's totally appropriate. They just go along at their own pace, and they graduate high school, they go off to college, and they get to experience what Boy Scouts has to offer, no matter what age they are.
I can add one, and there's one Boy Scout I knew who is also an Eagle Scout, Cameron, I think. He has a gap of 4 years. So he joined Boy Scouts, and then he felt, something else was more important. So he left, but then after 4 years later, he joined back again, and he was able to get Eagle, which means it really depends on your self-pace and the motivation pace. So that's one thing I want to add. And also, because this is only for Boy Scouts, but if you have kids who are in elementary school, and I also recommend to join the Cub Scouts. And Mr. Steinfeld is also a Cub Scout master. So he's helping for the elementary schools.
And you don't have to be a Cub Scout to join Boy Scouts. They're totally separate, but it's good for young boys to, when they're 1st grade through 5th grade, to be in Cub Scouts. And when you turn about 5th grade, when you go into 6th grade, you can tell you need to be with some older kids. If you have boys at home that are starting middle school, you can just tell they're not. They're starting to get older. they're not adults. They're certainly not teenagers yet, but they're getting close. So that's when Boy Scouts starts, when the boys are getting it in close to puberty and they're starting to be able to do big boy stuff. And they're certainly not, they're too old to do the things with parents all the time. Now, I do want to let you know, this is the first bullet here, the Boy Scouts is youth run. That's very, very important. A lot of things in their life, parents do everything for them, and which is fine. But when they get to about 6th grade, when they're about 11, 12 years old, they need to start experimenting. They need to start dealing with other boys. They need to start stepping out and not just doing what parents tell them or what other what their adults tell them. So Boy Scouts is an experiment where boys get to experience being a leader, get to doing all sorts of things, and having a lot of older boys let them tell them what to do, rather than having adults do it themselves. So very, very important. You'll realize that Boy Scouts is youth run. Now, when you're 11 years old, you make it think like, well, I can't have a bunch of boys doing things without any parental supervision. But realize when you're a 17-year-old boy, you're getting pretty good at being a leader, especially when they've been in Boy Scouts long enough. There's a huge difference between a boy that's 11 and a boy that's 17. There's also a huge difference between a 17-year-old boy that's not in Boy Scouts and a 17-year-old boy that's been in Boy Scouts, because we trained them for the last 6 years of being a leader, and that's important.
There is a question for David. So they said, sounds like most youth members are boys. Is there any data on how many members are girls?
Yeah, we'll get into the girls in a second. But we'll say that the girls have to be 14 years old to be in scouting. And we'll talk about, it's called Venture Scouts. And we'll talk about that a little later on. But the girls can be in the scout program when they turn 14. And I'll have a whole slide on how girls get into the scouting program. But until they're 14, girls are not allowed to be in the scouting program. However, that doesn't mean they can't go on campouts. They can go as a guest. The only thing is you have to have a woman chaperone. You can't have an unaccompanied girl just go on a campout with any adult women there helping out. It's just not allowed for safety and things like that. So if a girl goes on a campout, whether she's part of the scouting program or just as a guest or as a sister or a daughter of someone going, you have to have a woman there at all times. So
you need to have a dedicated mom.
You have to have a dedicated mom to go, right. It doesn't have to be the same mom, but if a girl goes on a campout, a mom or another woman or someone that's at least 21 years old has to be on the campout as well, or else the girls can't go.
True.
Okay, so we'll talk about the adults are there with the Boy Scouts. The adults are there for health and safety. We're not there to tell the boys what to do all the time, but you'll find out if you're a boy, they're lazy a lot of times. And if you let them do whatever they wanted, they would eat candy and play games and not do anything that they really need to do. So the adults are there for two reasons. One of them is to health and safety, to make sure they're not doing anything stupid. Because, there are boys, and if you have a boy, you'll realize they do some really stupid things sometimes. Their brains aren't developed yet until they're 25. And you can have the smartest boy in the world, and every so often they just do very, very stupid things. And you have to make sure that, the adults are there to make sure they don't do that one stupid thing that's going to, they'd regret, or someone else will regret because of, boys just do stupid things. The other thing I'd like to let you know is the bullet number 3. Boys will listen to a 17-year-old much more than they'll listen to a parent or another adult. You realize that at home. When you have a 13-year-old boy, 14-year-old boy, he stops listening to you because he's starting to exert himself. He's starting to get his independence. He also thinks that parents were never 14-year-old boys back when they were 14. They think that they're too old and don't understand what's going on. But they will do whatever a 17-year-old boy tells them. And that's the very important thing in Boy Scouts. You may have a home situation where there's no father. You may have a home situation where he's the only child. And he's probably sick of having parents and teachers telling him what to do. And now you go to a Boy Scout meeting, Boy Scout campout, and he's in his own element. He's having boys that are older than him telling him what to do. And when you're 17, 16 years old, you're telling other boys what to do. Very important, because they get to experience what it's like when they get older, not just being told what to do because they have some adult that's making them do something. Like I said, teachers are always there telling kids what to do. Your parents are always there telling them what to do. They just think that adults are just there to just tell kids what to do all the time. So when you have everything's a level playing field, you have boys between 11 and 17, 11 and 18, much more healthy for the younger boy and also for the older boy. And it's very interesting group dynamics to see a bunch of boys lead themselves. They do things not because they want to, but because they want to impress the older boy. And the younger boys look up to 17-year-old boys much more than they're going to look up to a 50-something-year-old adult. Parents do need to help in Boy Scouts. They're adult leaders. We certainly need adult leaders. Laura is an adult leader in our troop. She's in charge of all the cooking. We'll get into cooking a little bit later, but boys cook on campouts. And if there's anything like boys at your house, they probably don't cook at all. Parents cook for them. The mom cooks for them. The dad cooks for them, whoever. So when they get into Boy Scouts, they don't know how to cook. I think cooking is something that the mom does. But if you're in a camp out in the woods, there's no mom there to cook for you. You're doing it yourself. And of course, boys aren't very good at cooking when they first start out. But with training and all the campouts they go on for the multiple years, they become a very, very good cook, which is important when they go to college because they need to learn how to cook when they get older. Parents also need to learn how to help drive, because obviously boys can't drive to campouts. If you have a campout that's 100 miles away, you can't walk to it. You need to drive. And of course, boys can't drive, so they need parents. So when we are in Boy Scouts, adults can do absolutely nothing. They can drop off their boy at the Boy Scout meeting, come back at 9 o'clock, pick them up, and then drop them off at a campout at the school, and then pick them up on Sunday, and you'll never, ever see them. I have boys in our troop that I've never, ever saw a parent, ever. I thought that maybe they're a single mom, they're a single dad. I've never seen the mom, I've never seen the dad. It's just, who knows? You also have other parents that help a lot. So you can find anywhere in between. You can drop off your boys and pick them up and have a weekend all by yourselves, or you can come on a camp out every so often, or help out in the Boy Scouts. There's always a job for everybody. I will tell you, because we're all dealing with Asians here, Asians and Boy Scouts are different than they were when I started this maybe 17, 18 years ago in Rockville. 17, 18 years ago, the Asians were starting to come into America, into Rockville, and they would say, well, a lot of Boy Scout troops had very few Asians, very much of a Caucasian, Hispanic, and Black, but the Asians weren't really in Boy Scouts. And I would have Asian parents come to me and say, I heard in America, boys go camping, boys join Boy Scouts, here's my son. I don't understand why people camp, because in Asia, they don't camp. I've talked to plenty of Asians that camping was not their thing. It's very much an American thing to do, maybe because we have the Wild West, maybe because we have a lot of open land. I've talked to people from Laos that said, I'm not going to go camping in the woods. Back in Laos, things in the woods are scary. There's tigers, there's poisonous snakes, there's all sorts of stuff that'll kill you. Maybe America is much more tame in the wilderness. Maybe it's not like the jungle, but I have heard that Asians just don't camp back in China and Vietnam and Laos and Thailand. It's just not their thing. So they come to America and they say, well, American boys go camping. American boys join Boy Scouts. I can't help because I've never been in the woods in my life, but here's my son. And I let the parents know that, sure, you can drop off your son and we'll teach him to be an American boy. We'll go camping, but you might like it too. Just because a boy's never been camping, just because an adult has never been camping, doesn't mean they won't like it. I think they should experience it once and then they can decide. So you all out there that have never been on a camp out, there's all different types of camp outs. Some you'll sleep in a cabin, some you'll sleep in a tent, some you'll be able to backpack, some will be short, some will be long. There's all different types. Try one and you might like it, you might hate it. Some people go to camp out and say, I'll never ever do this again. Others go to camp out and say, hey, I really like this. Being out in the woods, it's fun. Now I understand why American boys do this sort of thing. Check it for yourself. You might like it as an adult. But if you're a type that wants to just drop your boy off and have a weekend to yourself when the boy is out camping and when he's at summer camp for a week, you're happy to have him out of the house, that's great too. I do want to let you know, especially for Asians and other parents that are very, very clingy with their boy, boys need to be on their own every so often, especially when they're a teenager. I'm not sure if it's that healthy to have a boy constantly with their parents when they become teenagers, because remember, they're going to go off to college, they're going to go off and get married and have jobs, and you need to start, what I say, cutting the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord you can't have, for 13, 14-year-old boys. You have to start weaning them to get them ready for college. And Boy Scouts does a lot of that sort of stuff. And a lot of parents can't cut the umbilical cord. They'll go on a camp out and with a boy because they figure they have to be there because the boy is out there. And a lot of times I'll tell the parent, it's time for the boy to go on a camp out without you, because a boy will act totally differently on a camp out without his parent watching. Sometimes you might have a very shy boy, and that shy boy will be very, very outgoing with his parent not being there. He acts himself, and that's important for a boy to act that way. I will tell you, like one camp out I was on, a boy went camping for the first time, and the mother was there, and the mother said, I need to go tuck my son into the tent. I said, you do not need to tuck your son at night. And the mom says, I've tucked my son in every single day of his life. I'm not about to not tuck him in. I told the mom, well, this is the first day in your life that you're going to not tuck in your son because he doesn't need it. He doesn't want it. And it's not going to be good for him. He's happy being with the other boys. The mom didn't believe me. And so she went over to tuck her son in. Mom came back and said, my God, the boys were swearing and my son was using all the bad words. I didn't even think he knew those words. So not that we let kids swear, but you will find out that boys will act differently when they are with a bunch of other boys, and that's important. You may think he's the most darling, sweet little boy, and maybe he's not, but it's time for him to exert himself and to learn what it's like to be out in the real world. Okay, let's see why I'm not getting the page down.
Who is
Oh, here we
doing that?
go. Yeah, I don't know who's doing that. Someone's drawing all sorts of stuff on my graffiti, but it's all in Chinese, so it's certainly not me. All right, so let's get to some interesting statistics. I'm assuming everyone can still see my screen through all the writing. Everyone can see it? I don't hear anything, so I'm assuming you can see my screen that says interesting statistics.
Little gray out. Yeah.
Do you want me to
Yes,
share
I
my
can see
screen?
That's fine.
David?
If everyone
Maybe
sees my
I can
screen,
share
that's
my
fine.
screen because I divide them into three PowerPoints. Just give me 1 second. Do you want me to share my
I'll
screen?
do whatever you like. I mean, is it the same
just
thing I have?
give me a second. Hold on.
Is there a reason you want to share the screen, Laura? Is it different than what I have, or?
Yeah, because I saw that it's a little bit too crowded. So can you see my screen?
Yes, Eagle Scout.
Yeah, it's not the right
hold on.
page, but
So interesting, right? Here. So can you see?
no.
I can only see Eagle Scout, 17 years old scout.
Can you see my screen? You cannot?
It's not the right page.
No, interesting statistics, right?
No. It says Eagle Scout.
This one? Is that correct?
Is Eagle
No.
Scout highest ranks in Boy Scout, typically 17 years old? Is that the one you want? All right.
No.
Hold on.
No, the screen of your computer.
Can you guys see my my screen? You
Yes. I can see your.
Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, but it's not the right
Yes.
page.
Yeah, I can see the
This is,
Laura,
this is
what-
Eagle Scout. Yeah,
This is your
highest ranking.
screen.
See
Boy Scout.
here.
Laura,
It's not the right page. Why don't you give it back to me, Laura, so it's at the right page?
Yeah, Laura.
Yeah, no, I divide your interesting statistic into 3 pages.
No.
Okay, well, right now we don't see any of those pages.
Yeah,
Oh,
only
okay.
yours.
And then I'm going to stop mine because I thought you guys, because I saw there are too many words in there. That's why I changed them into 3 screens.
Doesn't work.
Does not work?
Mm.
Okay, so you can take you see that? No?
Yeah, we're good now.
Now I see it.
This is the PowerPoint.
Yeah, interesting statistics. Yeah, we can see now.
That's the one?
Yeah.
All right,
Every-
all right, so you put it up into 3 pages.
Yeah, I put into 3 pages.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll go with you, Laura. Okay, so let's go through for every 100 boys that are to Boy Scouts. You know, only almost no one will go to court. No one will have to go to juvenile court judge. 4 Scouts will reach the rank of Eagle Scout. So that means that only 4% of boys that are in Boy Scouts become an Eagle Scout. And that's important because it's very hard to be an Eagle Scout. Not impossible. It just takes a lot of work. But that's why we'll talk about Eagle Scouts later, but that's why Eagle Scouts are very much sought after for college, for work, because you're only talking about what 1 out of 25 boys, one out a quarter, less than a quarter of the boys going to Boy Scouts, and only 4% become an Eagle Scout. So you're talking in America, you're only talking like maybe 1% of all boys going to college will be an Eagle Scout, maybe less than that. So highly sought after. 45 out of 100 will go in the military, and then 1 person out of 100 will actually save somebody else's life. I can give you a story about my son. He saved a guy the other day, maybe a month and a half ago, playing basketball. Guy had a seizure. Probably would have died. Everyone else thought he was having a heart attack. My son knows from his Boy Scout skills that he was having an epileptic seizure, and they were going to give him CPR on a person that was having a seizure. You could have killed him. My boy put everyone away and told them what to do and saved the guy's life. And then 2 out of 100 is actually going to use the skill to save their own lives, which is important because boys do very stupid things. And when you're older, there's always certain things that you do that you should have done, but you will save yourself. So those are certainly from things that you did while you were a Boy Scout. Okay, next page. Okay, so like I said, only 4 out of 100 boys in the U.S. will become a Boy Scout. So only 4% of boys become Eagle Scouts, and only 4% of Scouts become Eagle Scouts. So you're talking, 0.16% of all boys will become an Eagle Scout. So it's almost nothing. But out of the 4 out of 100 boys that will be Scouts, 3 out of 4 leaders in American businesses and politics were Scouts. So you're talking 3/4 of all politicians and CEOs and business executives were all in Boy Scouts. And 65% of all college graduates were Boy Scouts. So think of that. Only 4% of American boys were Scouts, but 65% of the college graduates were Scouts. So it gives you a much higher percentage of actually getting into graduating college because of the skills that you learn being a Boy Scout. 26 to 29% of all the astronauts were Eagle Scouts. And if you forget just Eagle Scouts and just Scouts in general, 133 out of the 233 astronauts were Scouts. So just basically saying, the leaders of our society were all in the Scouting program. Not because leaders join Boy Scouts, it's the other way around. Because you're a Boy Scout, you become a leader. Okay, and next chart. Oh, so I guess Mars is saying I can't see the full screen. It only shows the upper left corner. So Laura, I'm not sure what's happening with yours, but it's not. Did you need me to start sharing again? It's
Okay, so here.
no, you're not on the right page. Okay.
Can you
So-
see the screen?
I can see it, but Mars is saying it's only in the upper corner.
Upper corner.
Yeah. All right. Well, can everyone see the full screen?
I cannot see the full slide. It's only showed upper left corner.
Okay. I can see the full screen. Some see the full screen, some can't. I'm not sure.
Yes, I did.
All right,
Okay.
we'll assume everyone or most people are seeing the full screen. Okay, so a couple of statistics. You'll see that 89% of senior class presidents were scouts. The captains of football and basketball, almost 3/4 of them were scouts. If you're in the military academies, if you're in the Air Force Academy, you're 64%. 70% of everyone at the Naval Academy were Boy Scouts. 72% of all Rhodes Scholars were Scouts. You can just tell a Rhodes Scholar is one of the highest things you can be if you're in college and you're a Boy Scout. So just bottom line is you see that Boy Scouts not only just have the boys have fun, it teaches them a lot of outdoor skills. It teaches them how to become a leader and how to be a pillar of our society. Now, of course, kids don't care about that. The parents do, but the kids don't. They just want to have fun. And so if you go to the next chart.
Okay. Here.
Okay, so if you look at the Boy Scout goals, if you look at what Boy Scouts tells you, of course, it's to train youth in being self-reliant in outdoor activities, be a responsible citizen, and character development. Very important things to do, and yes, they're very, very important. If you ask a parent, they'd say, yes, what I really want my boy to be. I want him to be self-reliant, responsible citizen, and have a lot of good characters. However, boys don't care about that. They'll just yawn and say, yeah, whatever. I don't want to join an organization that's going to teach me character development, because they don't care about that sort of stuff. So the job of Boy Scouts is to teach them all these skills without making it seem like we're teaching them all those things. Sort of like having good food. You want to have food that's good for them, but the kids don't care. They just want to eat fun food that tastes good. So your job as a parent is to give them food that is also good for them. Same as Boy Scouts. You want to teach them all these leadership skills and self-reliance without making it seem like you're doing that. The Boy Scout motto is be prepared. And that's one of the main things we do in Boy Scouts. You're going off into the woods. You can't just wear shorts and a t-shirt when it may be snowing outside. It may be it's raining. It may be cold. It may be hot. You have to be prepared for everything. The other thing is sometimes things don't happen the way you expect it to happen. Someone forgets the food. Someone forgets the stove. Someone forgets the kitchen utensils. Well, you make do, and the boys will figure it out. Someone forgets a stove. Someone forgets a tent. Someone forgets the poles. You're supposed to camp in A, but you're now camping in E. Whatever it is, it looks totally different. You can't just say, oh, sorry, boys, I guess we'll cancel. You figure it out. The boys are very good at improvising. They're very good at figuring things out. That's why the Boy Scout motto is be prepared, because you never know what you're going to get. Things will throw. In America, they call it throwing a monkey wrench. If someone throws a monkey wrench at you, you have to be able to figure out what to do about it. The motto, be prepared, but the slogan is called do a good turn daily. Remember, we talked about the Boy Scouts in England, where they would help someone, but they wouldn't take any money for it, because that's what Boy Scouts do. That good turn means do a good deed, do something good for someone. So the Boy Scout slogan is every day you need to do something good for someone else. And that's what makes a good Boy Scout. Yes, they're prepared. Yes, they're smart. Yes, they have all the first aid skills to help someone. Yes, they prepared for everything. But at the same time, they're not a jerk. They're not looking out for themselves. They're always looking out for the other person. There's 12 points of the Boy Scout law. The boys, we say that at every troop meeting. Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And those are the points, the 12 points of the Scout law. And that's what we teach the boys you need to be. Yes, you need to be trustworthy. Yes, you need to be loyal. Yes, you need to be helpful and friendly, courteous and kind. Those are the traits of a Boy Scout. And I don't care if you're 11-year-old, you're 18-year-old, you're black, you're white, you're Asian, you're Indian. It doesn't matter. You're going to have all those traits if you're going to be a Boy Scouts. Now, like I told you, the goals, are nice for the parents to listen to, but the boys won't be an organization that's boring. They get plenty of that at school. School is boring for them. Home sometimes is boring for them, and that's why they want to do fun things. I have a couple goals. My goal number one is keep them away from the video games for 1 weekend a month. Boys are lazy. You know, they like video games. It's not something that I was used to. I'm sure we had pinball games and other things. But boys nowadays play video games. And the problem with video games is they're not social anymore. They don't have to talk to people. They don't have to interact with people. It's just them and their video game, and they're online with other people with a video game. They don't talk on the phone. It's just something they don't do. There's a lot of things with video games I don't like. Maybe it teaches them hand-eye coordination, but other than that, they need to do other things. So my goal is to get them away from the video games and get them to go exercise. My goal number two is to have fun being a boy. There's plenty of time for them to study, and there's time for them to do their chores at home and to all the things that they need to do. But boys need the outlet. They need to run around. They need to have fun. They need to build things. They need to break things. They need to figure out what they can do in a nice, controlled environment. And that's what Boy Scouts is about. And my third goal is to just get them outside. Boys are inside too much, and there's plenty outside they need to experience, whether it's the outdoors with the animals and the trees and the fresh air and the exercise. They need to be outside more than they are now. We're no longer an agrarian society where everyone's on a farm. We're too much in cities and suburbs and factories and office buildings. They need to get outside, move around. Okay. All right, Laura, next chart. Okay, so the Boy Scouts go camping. You'll see a couple pictures. Here's our troop in a January camp out. Of course, it's cold. Well, you can't go camping just in June when it's nice weather. Yeah, Laura was in there too somewhere.
Yeah.
But you'll see it's cold. Well, boys sometimes will say, I'm not going camping. It's freezing outside. Well, so the parents will say, oh, you don't want to go on the January camp out. It's going to be cold. Stay at home. They'll find out that the boys will go on a January camp out, and yes, they'll be cold and they'll have fun. And they'll be hot sometimes, they'll have fun. And sometimes it'll be rainy and they'll have fun. So the important thing is the boys maybe think they're not going to have a fun time, but they will. Boys that I've seen in Boy Scouts that have no desire to go on campouts will, in a year or so, be so happy of being on a campout, they go to all of them. They really like it because they get to be a boy. You get to be silly. You get to do all sorts of things your parents won't let you do. You don't have to brush your teeth if you don't want to. All sorts of things that you're just away from your parent, and boys need to be with other boys because the rest of their life they're going to be with other kids. So one point you can look at, my bullet number one, Scouts cannot sleep by themselves. When you're in a Boy Scout in a tent, you cannot be by yourself. You have to be with another person, and that's for youth protection purposes. If a kid, gets sick at night, there'll be someone there that'll be able to go get help. If a boy has some sort of issue, someone will be there to help so that you all can't sleep by yourself. But that's important because not only is it just there for protection, it's also there to prepare them for college. Well, my oldest son, Michael, went to college. We were there at the parent meeting the very first day, and the dean of housing came out and talked to the entire freshman class. And he said, everyone here, raise your hand if you if you have a bedroom that you're the only one sleeping in. You have your own bedroom. And almost every single person raised their hand. And back when we were kids, you always had to share your bedroom with your sister, your brother. There's always two to a room, maybe three to a room. It's just the way it works. But nowadays, pretty much everyone has their own bedroom. When you go to college, now you're going to have a roommate for the very first time in your life. And it's very hard for boys that are used to just being in their bedroom all by themselves, doing what they want, to now have to have a roommate. You have to learn how to be clean. You have to learn how to be quiet. You have to learn how to, when you're going to wake up or they're going to be sleeping, there's all sorts of issues going on. They may smoke, you may not. There's all sorts of just stuff that you have to work out among yourselves. One may play video games, the other one doesn't. And boys don't learn that anymore because they usually have rooms by themselves. So Boy Scouts teaches you how to have a roommate and how to share and how to do all those sort of things that you need to do that you're not getting at home anymore because you don't have that room with your brother. You also learn time management because when we're on a camp out, you have to wake up at a certain time. I'll say, boys, we need to wake up at 6:30 a.m. The senior patrol leader then gets the kids up at 6:30 a.m. so they can get out, they get packed up so we can get on our way. You can't sleep till 8 because it just doesn't work that way. There's a reason why we have to get up at a certain time or else we'd be late to things. So boys learn not to get woken up by their parent. There's plenty of boys that the boys will say, I know my parents make me up for school every day. Say, well, when you go to college, you're not going to have that parent that's going to wake you up every day. You're going to have to do it yourself. When I camp out, you can't just wait for some parent to wake you up. You get a clock, you get a watch, whatever it is, and when you're up, you're out. You have to be ready in 25 minutes, because if you're late, no one can leave. So it's up to you to get ready, because the rest of the troop relies on everyone to be done at the same time. They'll learn teamwork because everyone has to work together, and of course they're going to exercise. For the first time in their life, they're actually going to, get a little sweat. Until they're in 5th grade, 6th grade, they usually don't exercise, but they will when they're in Boy Scouts. Here's a picture you see at the bottom. That's how they cook. You'll see a couple camp stoves. You'll see pots on it. This is boys cooking on a camp out. It's not a kitchen, but it's about as close as you're going to get on a camp out. And the boys, when they first start out, will say, well, I don't know how to cook because where's the kitchen? Say, here it is right here. You figure it out. Here's the pots. Here's the pan. Here's the ingredients. Just cook. And they learn how to do it, and they're very good at it. And you'll find out they'll go home and some Saturday, Sunday morning, they'll wake up and make pancakes because they know how to do them on campouts. They'll go home and do it too. They may not be as efficient as you. They may be a lot more messy as you. They may not be able to measure the ingredients as good as you, but it still works out. And, it's important for them to learn how to cook. They'll put a lot of chocolate chips in pancakes. They'll put Skittles in pancakes. They'll put all sorts of stuff in pancakes. That's fine. It's because they're learning. All right, next chart, please. And if everyone has any questions, please, let me know, and I'll certainly answer them. But what do Boy Scouts do? So Boy Scouts, like we say, go camping. We camp every month. So they'll be camping 12 times a year. They're going to learn orienteering skills. That's using a map and compass. Again, remember in the Boer Wars, the Boy Scout boys didn't know how to read a map and a compass. And in the military, you have to know how to do that. Well, Boy Scouts, you learn that stuff because it's not just you need it for camping. You need it for driving around the city. They learn directions real well. So when they drive, they're able to go left here, go right here, because they have a good sense of direction by being in Boy Scouts. From reading maps and compasses, it goes off and becomes important just in your everyday life when you're lost in a city or you're lost in the woods. I have a man I talked to the other day. He said that he went out in the woods and got lost, had no clue where north was, and he was sort of scared. If he was a Boy Scout, he would know where he was, and he would know how to get out, even if he was in some place that was totally foreign to him, because you look at the sun, you look at the stars, you look at the moon, you'll be able to figure it out. You have a map. Talk about cooking. Laura is our cooking assistant scoutmaster in our troop. And if you leave it up to boys, they'll make spaghetti every single meal because it's easy for them. We're here to teach them to broaden their horizons. They'll make Chinese food. They'll make Indian food. They'll make Italian food. They'll make Mexican food, whatever they want. Laura's there to teach them, number one, how to cook, make sure they have the right utensils, but also to make sure they have the right health. Food is prepared correctly, wash your hands, make sure there's vegetables or fruit for every meal. You can't have candy and pretzels for dinner, even though the boys would like to have that. We teach them the correct nutrition. So when they go off to college, they're eating right. They're not having pizza every night because they don't know how to cook. It's important. They'll learn how to swim. Boy Scouts is very heavily involved in swimming and life-saving skills. If you're an Eagle Scout or just a Boy Scout in general, you'll learn life-saving because you might need it to save someone else. You might have to learn it to save yourself. Nowadays, you need to learn how to swim, or else you can get into serious trouble with drowning or being off on a boat. You have to learn how to swim, and we'll do that. We'll also teach them survival skills. Being off the woods, don't need a tent. You can just sleep on the ground, and they'll survive. All sorts of things, how to make a shelter in the woods, all important things you need to do. And of course, these aren't things just to make a shelter. Just to make a shelter, it's to teach the boys to improvise. It's to teach a boy to look around them, see what there is available, and use what's around. Not just say, well, Mr. Steinfeld, I don't have a tent. Well, go make a tent. Go figure out what you can use. There's all sorts of things you can do to improvise, because that teaches them when they're in college. They don't know all the answers to a certain test. They try to figure it out. And this is all about Boy Scouts, is to be prepared to figure things out where you may not necessarily have all the answers, but to use your brain to come up with, you may have 3 out of the 5 things answered, but you have to fill in the blanks with the other 2. That's what Boy Scout teaches them. Of course, being outside, you teach them about trees and wildlife. But the important thing you do when you're an adult leader, or when you're an older leader, you teach leadership. Like we said, that boys will listen to other boys more than they'll listen to adults. And when you're an older boy, it's all about leadership. It's all about leading the boys. It's all about getting them to do things they may not necessarily want to do. Use persuasion. Use all sorts of things that you need. You can't just yell and scream at kids, because if you yell and scream at kids all the time, they'll just be oblivious to yelling and screaming. So older boys will learn the different techniques they can to persuade boys to do things they may necessarily not want to do, but they have to do it. It helps them if they're in the military. It helps them if they're in college. It helps them if they're in work, because you always need to have a leader, and you need to have a persuasive leader. There's plenty of bad managers out there. Boy Scouts teaches you how to be one of the good managers. Okay, Laura, next. Okay, so summer camp. It's 1 week long. Boys will do it all every year. We go in July, and they take things called merit badges. Merit badges are quick introduction topics where the boys learn different type of subjects, whether it's cooking or camping or swimming or canoeing or some sort of basketry or wood carving, or rifle and shotgun, all sorts of things they learn. And I wanted to show a video. It only took 2-3 minutes of the summer camp that we're at, called Resca Falls. There's hundreds of Boy Scout camps around the country, and just want to see what this one is like, so you can see what summer camp is like.
Yeah,
Laura, is there any way you can play the video?
Hold on. Yeah. It may take some time because it's loading. Maybe we can go back.
No, or I should have the video on my computer, but
yeah, you can. You can take over now, I guess. Do you want me to pause share and you can take over?
I can do that.
Okay, so I'm going to pause my. Can you just take it over?
All right. So let's see. So I need to trying to find the thing on the top where it says.
You can go to share screen on the bottom.
Here we go. Share screen. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll
make
share
sure
screen.
Click those 2 buttons. To checkbox. To check
Okay,
boxes.
yep.
And, yeah. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Now I need to get out of full screen so I can get into the. Let's see. Now I need to figure out how to, because I'm in full screen mode, so I need to get into my Firefox.
Cool. I got
Okay, here we go. All right. So can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Yes.
So everyone can see this?
Yeah, the canoeing.
Okay, good. Let me play this. This is the Boy Scout camp we go to up in Pennsylvania. They're all about the same. Okay, so that is well, so Laura, I don't know if you want to take over again or let's
David,
see.
David, we
Okay.
have 4 minutes. Do you have any?
Sure.
How many more slides you have? Do you want to?
Yeah, just I think I have like 2 or 3 slides, so
Okay.
I'll go quickly.
Sure.
Okay, so the bottom line is, I see a lot of different type of boys that I've dealt with, and you'll find out that some of the boys are very shy. Some of them have ADHD. Some are fairly normal. Some are. I'm not sure why it's. Let me get rid of this. Full screen. So you'll see that all sorts of, and you may think your boy's very, very shy. And my oldest boy was very, very shy when he started, and he turned out to be not shy after being in Boy Scouts. So you just need a little help. And a lot of it is just being with other boys that are his age, not just being around a bunch of parents. The bottom bullet I want to make sure of that you know of, there's no bullying allowed in Boy Scouts. That's something that's not allowed whatsoever. We're all friends. We're all buddies. You may not like each other all the time, but you're going to be very social, and there won't be any bullying whatsoever. All right, let's talk about girls. I think we talked about this earlier. When a girl turns 14, she can join the Boy Scout program, and they form a venture patrol. They typically are 16, 18-year-olds. They're not usually 14, but they can be. But typically, they're a little bit older. Girls can go camping. You will need a woman chaperone because a girl can't go by herself without a parent there. But there's also interesting group dynamics when girls are involved. It keeps the older boys involved because they get to have their girlfriend go on a camp out. They can have other girls that they can socialize with. And girls like to camp, so they come on too. But the biggest con is a bunch of inter-rivalries. A girl may be dating one boy, they break up, then she starts dating another boy, and they're both in the same patrols. So then the boys don't like each other because it went from one boyfriend to another boyfriend. Interesting dynamics that are involved when a bunch of 16, 17-year-old girls and boys get involved. But it's if you have a daughter, it's about the best way that you can get to have the girl be camping. I don't have much time to talk about troop meetings, but they last about 90 minutes. They will get into public speaking. A boy every meeting will have to talk maybe 5 minutes about a skill. It teaches him public speaking skills. And it's very important because boys aren't very good public speakers naturally. It's something that you have to learn from. And you do it by talking every week and giving little presentations. And it's very important to do. The older boys, they teach, like I said, we teach leadership skills. You teach the younger boys. And it also prepares these boys for college because you're going to do group projects in college. You're going to learn that from having groups, your patrols, when you're in Boy Scouts. And it also prepares them for being a supervisor when they get out of college. Okay, let's talk about Eagle Scout quickly. An Eagle Scout's the highest rank in Boy Scouts. Typically, you're about 17 years old, so it takes you about 6 years to get. Only 4% earn that rank. And what I tell people is it's a journey to be an Eagle Scout. It's not a march. If all you want to do is be an Eagle Scout and you have 6 years of not having fun, it's not going to work. The job of Boy Scouts is to be fun, and you stay in it long enough and you have the opportunity to become an Eagle Scout. But it's you have to have fun at the same time. 6 years is a long time to do something you don't like. But it separates the 4% from the 96% who don't get an Eagle Scout because it's not fun all the time. You're going to have to do things that aren't fun. But that's why colleges want you. That's why businesses want you, because you're doing things that may not necessarily be fun, but you have to do it. And that was the end of my slideshow. No one really had any questions, or I don't know if it's because I answered them all for you, or there's nothing to really answer. But I will tell you one thing. When my oldest son was going through college application process and dealing with colleges, we went to some college function, and the dean stood up and said, the only thing, boy, we care about if you do activities. You don't care about if you do all sorts of different activities. We care about if you're an Eagle Scout, you're the newspaper editor of your newspaper, or you're the captain of your football team. Those are the things that they look for to get into colleges. So if you're not into sports and you're not into writing, the Eagle Scout does help you get into college, and it does help you get a job. It's important, but it's something you takes a long time to get, but it's doable.
I echo David's point. There's one person applied job with FDIC, the federal agency. He happened to see the Boy Scout Eagle on the interviews in the interviewer's room. So happened to be Eagle Scout. He got the job almost immediately because people click.
And that's well, that's my presentation. It took exactly 1 hour, I guess, but
Wow, good
I don't know
job.
if you have any questions, please ask them. Hopefully I answered all of them. Hope you find it interesting. And if you have daughters, have boys, that doesn't mean you can't be in scouting. It just means that your daughter has to be 14 or older, and then she can go camping and be part of a troop.
Yeah, I know, Laura. Thank you, David. Laura, can you share how your boys transform themselves through the Boy Scouts in the program?
Okay. I have two boys. I cannot say. For example, my older one, he's not that academically strong, but he got admitted to University of Maryland College Park. I think part of the reason was because his essay. So he wrote his essay with the Scout's life in his essay. So he wrote something about his wristband. So he has those wristbands from Boy Scouts all the time. So he talked about those wristbands in his essay. I think people saw his quality from his college application, and that's why he got into the engineering school, which is a little hard. In the university College Park, there are three of those colleges. They are harder to get in, like business, engineering, and computer science. So I'm very happy for that. So I think I was like Mr. Steinfeld said, that I was the mom that I was too caring, and I followed my boys to camping. The main reason for me was because my older son had asthma. So I went there, I wanted to check out to see if he was okay. And I remember Mr. Steinfeld yelled at me many times, "Laura, get away from them. Otherwise I will tie you to the tree or to the post." So I just gradually I learned, just leave them alone. Just stay there as an adult, but not a mom, and let boys to take care of themselves and grow. So I just help with the other boys to make to help them to grow. And I think the biggest change for me to see my older one was when he took the senior patrol leader. And that's when he had to take care of 30 people, 30 younger kids in the troop. And at that time, I think I really saw the moments and the momentum, and I really saw the changes in him. And he became more mature and more helpful, and became a better leader at that time. So that's my experience, but I was very happy that so it's a 7 years journey for the Boy Scouts from 6th grader to 12th grader. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Boy Scouts and enjoyed to be a volunteer. Like Mr. Steinfeld is also volunteer. He volunteered all of his time to help the other boys to grow. So thank you very much.
Well, Laura, you did well. I think the personal story really tell your 3 minutes Toastmaster speech. The three takeaways I have is, one is the boys get out of the gadgets, electronic devices. They can see the real nature. That is probably one big hit. Parents and moms are I'm highly motivated to push the kids into the real world, not in the electronic game. The second thing is get up early, do your own business, right? Your cooking, all these things are living life skills are important. Probably now the kids are all I call spoiled or taken for granted. I think the third thing, David, you mentioned is the boys do not listen to the parents, but listen to the older ones. I think that is so true. I highly believe in that. So I'm going to send my boys to give a try because they don't listen to me anymore. Even I'm a Toastmaster, doesn't matter. Okay, I want to open the table to other parents. Mindy, Mars, Tom, Tora. You guys talk with your experience. How do you think your boys can benefit from Boy Scouts? Guys, go ahead. Open the the discussion to everybody else. Hi, Tall, you there? I think you're asking about this program. I think you can talk. David, anybody?
So any of your boys have you ever heard about this Boy Scouts program? It's very similar. I always compare the Boy Scouts program to the Toastmasters program. This nonprofit organization both have about 100 years of history, and it's all volunteer based. And one's help the public speaking, helping the adults, and one's helping the youth. So anybody wants to share your experience or anything that you have heard or you have questioned? I know some of the parents might have the doubts that, does that take a lot of efforts to achieve something? I know some of the parents might have those concerns.
I just recently started taking my boys to the Boy Scout event. And when they told me, like, Boy Scout help boys grow to a man, so I think it's important for these teenager boys to have this kind of experience, be tough, learn some survival skills, be responsible, and also know how to also learn something about self-management and cooperate.
True. Yeah, the teamwork, and especially when they're older, it's boys lead boys. I think that's very important.
Yeah. I still remember there were a few MIT grad or Harvard grad couldn't even do their own laundry, couldn't even make their own beds because the only thing they study. That's no other things. Their living skills really is a mess. So Boy Scout definitely can transform these boys from a test machine, exam machine to a real man. 纯爷们, huh? 纯爷们儿.
Yeah, actually there's one more thing I would like to share is so my son, my older one, learned how to cook, and I think it's very helpful for him to impress the other girls too, because the girls, they're looking for boys who can cook and who can actually cook well, and who can do laundry, who can help fixing the cars, but actually they learn all those skills from Boy Scouts. And I still remember one of the backpack trail, the backpack high adventure. So I went with them, and everybody got a trail name afterwards. And my older one got the trail name called 659. So I asked the other boys, what does 659 mean? And they said, because when my son was the senior patrol leader, he always woke them up at 6:59 a.m. So that's why he got the trail name as 659. And I thought that was very interesting. So
I think that's...
Yeah. Yes, I have the one thing to share with you.
Sure.
Can I?
Mindy, go ahead, Mindy.
Yeah. I just want to share my son. He is Cub Scout right now. Actually, he was joined the first grade. Now he's fourth grade. So already been 4 years. I think it's a lot of benefit of it, because now he's very independent and he's really enjoy all the activity, and all the activity he could handle it. Also, he could teamwork with the boys, because he's Weibo 1 right now. So the Weibo 1 group, they could lead themselves. because I think we will start with the Weeblo 1. They start with the to learn a lot outside activity. So that's why I think it's a lot of benefit for them. Start from now on. I know my boy is very enjoy, and also my girl is join with the Girl Scout. So also she's was very enjoy the crew program too. Really, every time they will have the different program to let them have some funding or activity. I think it's a lot. That's the best program. What I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all of my.
Me too.
Thank
I
you.
think that's my best decision when I send them to the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts program. Oh, Kevin. Actually, Kevin is online. Do you want to share something? Kevin is my son, my older one. Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, hi. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, my name's Kevin. I am Laura's son. My name is Kevin. Yeah, just this year, or just last year, I became an Eagle Scout. And I guess I'm here now. I'm here for a few short minutes because right now I'm in college studying for a lot of exams tomorrow. But I'm free to answer any questions if you have any. Other than that, yeah, I just recently became an Eagle Scout. I've been Boy Scout since 5th grade, and pretty much I just been spending a lot of time just doing different Boy Scout activities, all of which I enjoy. I recently completed it, and I don't know. I would just really recommend that you would have your kids join Boy Scouts. If you guys have any questions, I'm free to answer them right now while I'm still on.
All right, Kevin, this is Mike. First of all, I like your teeth.
Thank you.
So the question is, compared with the people, your college friends who are not Boy Scouts, what's your special character?
What do you think sets me apart from them?
Yeah, standing out. Yeah.
I think a really big part is public speaking. As I went through Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts, and as I developed through the time, I had to talk to a lot of leaders. I had to do a lot of planning. I would have to speak up with my fellow scouts as a SPL to get them to listen up and to get them to follow me as a true leader in order to communicate properly. So one big thing I thought was public speaking. Just recently, I actually had applied to this honors program in my college, and we actually just had my interview. By the way, Mom, I haven't told you yet. I got into an honors program, by the way, because I thought it was, thank you. It was just because I thought public speaking from Boy Scouts really helped me there, because I can tell a lot of college students were not new to speaking out in such a stressful environment, but having gone through those stressful environments, doing my Eagle Scout project, talking with beneficiaries, or just simply leading my scouts has really prepared me for public speaking activities, and definitely just in itself leadership. Boy Scouts, the number one thing they really do teach you is leadership, and that's something I definitely feel like I've developed maybe even more than most college students here. Wow,
I can see the passion and the energy level from Kevin is really, the leaders are not born, they are made, right? As the Godfather said. So you made yourself after 6 years of the rigorous program. 7. Oh yeah, so I blame you for 7. You should be 6.
Just like a DTM, we made for 7 years, and here also. Yeah.
So Laura, I think except your husband, everybody in your house is very greedy. All right, I think David, from Kevin's I got testimonial. What do you think? You watched him grow. Tell me what's your view from Kevin's personal story?
Oh, well, when Kevin started, he's like every typical 11-year-old. He's shy. He's just a normal boy. But as you get older, you go in stages. You go from a stage where you don't want to listen to your parents all the time. You want to just go off and do your own thing, hang out with kids, and do something that's fun. They don't understand they're learning anything because they're having fun. We're in the background getting them to learn. But as Kevin grew older, you could just tell he was a leader. He didn't want to just be silly, have fun, and that was it. He took care to, when he was in a leadership position, to be able to tell the boys what to do, but not at the same time, not to just scream and yell at them, to try to coerce them. Kevin was very good at coercing other boys to do things without just screaming and yelling. I could tell he was going to be a good leader when he gets older. There's a big difference between an 11-year-old and a 17, 18-year-old. You see boys grow up. You just have to let them do their thing.
So David, I have one small request: secure a summer intern position for Kevin at NASA. Okay.
That would be great. I would love that.
See, sure. See, you got it, Laura. You had to treat me for dinner. So,
yes, definitely.
Oh, Kevin would be a great leader no matter where he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell, it's just amazing. The way you say the energy level, the charisma it's just unmatched. I really impressed. Mm-hmm. So Sherry, June, Mars, Darren, David, Jason, you guys have any thoughts, any questions? Toya?
Yeah, just feel free to chat it, or if anything, just if you contact my mom, I'm always free to answer some questions. Yeah,
wow.
I'm getting kind
I'm
of bored
so proud
here.
of you.
Thanks.
All right, so any questions? Amazing Grace?
Amazing Grace. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
I just come back. Yeah, I'm Esther. I use another phone. I'm off the line maybe 10 minutes.
No problem.
I cannot hear anything, no sound, so I get out and right now get in. Just come back. You ask me a question. I don't know what you talk about.
Just feel free to ask anything. I haven't really answered too many questions yet. I just gave a little short interview of why I thought everyone should join Boy Scouts. So if you have any questions, I'm free to answer it.
You already in the college, or you still in the?
Right now I'm a freshman in college. I go to University of Maryland. I'm actually in my room right now, and this is my roommate.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, I can tell he's not a Boy Scout.
He's fine. He's a great guy.
Okay,
that's great.
So tell me about your bracket for the NCAA.
See, my friends have all been talking to me about that, and I don't know. I wasn't interested. I really, basketball is just my worst sport. I have no interest in it, but I'd love to hear from my friends who also are doing it. They're just randomly choosing teams. Hopefully it works out for them.
Yeah, it's a national gambling game,
mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of college students are making their own fun brackets. It's a fun time to get around your own college because it's when college spirit really kicks in.
I think, as David said, if you are not good at professional football, if you're not good at it's just a Boy Scout is a very, I call it, a convenient way for our parents to seriously think about it, okay? In a practical way.
Yeah. I feel like it's weird. I feel like it's kind of weird to compare Eagle Scouts to sports. I agree with you where to me I feel like Eagle Scout or just Boy Scouts in general is not. It's just something that you need to, in order to get good at being a Boy Scout, all you have to do is just put in time. That's really all it takes. And if you're willing to put in that time to really go over all the scout skills you learn over the merit badges and really set it to stone. The same thing with school. It's something that it'll eventually through just over time and experience and just cycling it through. It's just a single class. Taking one class for 6 years and then graduating as becoming either an Eagle Scout or just finishing Boy Scouts. You emerge a better person. It's the same, almost the same thing as sports where you need to just put in practice and practice and practice. So, sorry, I take that back. I do agree that sports is kind of like Boy Scouts.
Excuse me, may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I know you already passed the Eagle score,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a 4% in all the Boy Scouts. Are you top on the 4%, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you have to attend 6 years, but also you have to be the leader in this job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
I think it's not easy to get past this looks like has any test for that, or just your attendance, the 100% attend in six years, and also you need to do something very achievable thing, the big thing, or just to take care your teams, or you have to something excellent skill, something special, then pass the test, get on the 4%.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Like, I guess to me right now, I'm trying to see where, like, to me, pretty much you definitely get help and support along the way. Like, what I think is most important is that when you achieve like SPL and Eagle Scout, it's definitely not like you don't have to have like a certain skill to attract them. What matters more is that you're like, not only do your scout masters approve of you, but your fellow scouts also have to approve of you. That's what makes a person move on to an SPL. If that's what I'm trying to answer.
Well, there's no SAT test or anything like that. Like you say, there's no like final exam. There's no test you have to pass to get. It's all just getting better as you go along. There's no attendance. It's just some boys will put in the time to be a leader. Other boys don't want to be a leader. They just want to have fun, and that's it. That's totally fine too.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, you put in some time. You like it. You do it. There's a lot of boys that don't want to be a leader. That's totally fine. They want to just have fun and go camping, and that's totally fine. They won't be an Eagle Scout, but that's all good too. It's it's like being at work. Some people want to be managers. Other people just want to be a worker, come to work from 9 to 5, go home, and that's it. Other people want to be a manager. They put in the extra time, they put in the extra effort, and they become a leader. Boy Scouts is the same way.
It's another kind of prepare them can get in the army, and they also has a good skill for shooting the gun, right? I saw they have this kind of game.
Sure, it's good. It's good for hand-eye coordination. It's some people. It's not Boy Scouts isn't really to be in the military, but there's a lot of characteristics that you have that are in the military that you learn from Boy Scouts because they're similar. But if nothing else, learning how to shoot a gun is very good hand-eye coordination. To me, it's a lot better than playing a video game.
This is very big credit for that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kevin probably learned a lot of hand-eye coordination from shooting guns and a lot of the safety aspects, and you can kill someone with a gun. So there's a lot of safety involved that you have to learn, or else we don't let you do it.
Yeah, I definitely remember Mrs. Steinfeld's fun required safety classes before having to go to the camp out. And I remember Mrs. Steinfeld was very strict, and he really did emphasize on how important it is to be safe with guns. It isn't a joke, and Mr. Steinfeld realizes that and makes sure it's taken seriously. So like, if it wasn't for Mr. Steinfeld, these like scouts like me or many others wouldn't grow up to be as disciplined as we are today. So it's definitely thanks to Mr. Steinfeld.
Yeah, and also I think it's training you is a good handle your life. I see your room is very clean. My son, he's a freshman also. He's the first year in the college, but I went to his room. It's messy.
Yeah.
I saw your room is clean.
Yeah, our room
maybe it's good for
clean.
you too.
Yeah, a little bit messy on my side. I've been a bit busy, but I definitely we definitely do try to maintain a cleanliness in the room.
It's good.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's just a skill everyone kind of learns. It's just responsibility. Definitely is another part of Boy Scouts.
Yeah, good to take care of yourself.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
You're an excellent young boy, not a boy anymore. Young man.
Well, does anyone else have any other questions?
It's 11:24 now, so probably it's time to close our session. So if you have any questions, just last 2 minutes, we're going to give one more question, and then we're going to close the session. Anybody has any questions? If not, then I'm going to close the session. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Steinfeld, for giving us this great seminar. And I believe everybody has learned a lot. Just at least you have some common sense in what the Boy Scouts, what the boys are doing, and how what's the history and what they do for the summer camp, and what are those skills important, and what's Mr. Davis' 3 goals. 1, 2, 3. The first one was the last video games, and the second one, what's the second one?
Teach the things that you don't learn from school.
Yeah,
teach you the other things.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember Mr. Peter Mineman told me that he think Boy Scouts is even more important than the school, because the boys learn a lot of things from Boy Scouts. And the third thing is do good deed every day. Do a good deed every day. Thank you, Kevin, for being here. I'm so happy, and congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Although it's belated because you never told me.
Yeah, it just happened recently. I forgot to tell you.
Well, congratulations. Thank you for dialing in. So I would like to say thank you to everybody for keeping this seminar for 1.5 hours. And so we will see you next week. So,
See you.
Okay.
Thank you
So
very
see you
much.
next week.
Have a good
Bye.
Yeah, good night.
Good night
Good
and
night.
good noon. Have a something maybe taking lunch. Okay.
再见.
再见. Thank you very
再见.
much for a
晚安.
great presentation. 晚安.
Yes,
Bye.
thanks,
Hi,
David.
guys.
You're welcome.
Bye.